Adam, you're watching, you're trying to pick out what's happening. There's loads happening. What is happening here is Tadej Pogačar's coming good on his promise. He's set Tim Wellens to work. He's on the wheel, and not many can follow now. Sepp Kuss can. Ben Healy just in that second group, getting caught out.
This is going to be a big move, I think. If Tadej Pogačar goes this early on, and where we think he's going to go, that's a long road ahead of him. It's been hard for quite a long time.
81 kilometers to go. Make a note of that number, because Tadej Pogačar, who went on a 50-kilometer solo raid 2 years ago, has taken off, and nobody can match his power. It's a long way to the finish here in these epic, as you described, Dan Lloyd, biblical conditions.
It's a long way to go. Doesn't matter who you are, even if you are Pogačar, 81 kilometres on your own is an awful long way to go solos. I'm surprised he's gone not to try to take at least somebody with him that's prepared to work, prepared to try and take it all the way to the finish line.
He told us he'd attack here, and that's exactly what he's done. Tadej Pogačar turning his first pedal strokes in anger in 2024, in a year where he's going to take on both Giro d'Italia and Tour de France. And Isaac del Toro, his teammate, is still following in the group behind and looking very good. Now, Christophe Laporte's in here, Matej Mohoric, Maxi Vochils is up towards the front as well. He's the rider in the red jersey that's now covered in mud. He told the interviewers this morning that he would attack here at this 5-star sector, longest of the race, Monte Santa Maria. Look into the distance, it's spectacular. But Pogačar, the Slovenian champion, has no time to check things out. He'll have taken in the scenery on his recon ride. He's come with white frosted hair tips to what he called the white road race. It's more like the brown roads today, because it has been lashing it down with rain in the last 15 minutes. It has stopped, but it's changed the surface underneath. The race has been changed by Pogačar, though, and nobody else. Tadej Pogačar, in the space of 3 to 4 kilometers since his attack, has taken a minute now on the chasing group. There is Pogačar. He said he would attack on the hardest sector today. He's done that. Monte Santa Maria is out of the way. We now have the longest part of the race without any dirt sectors to go. Tadej Pogačar has 2 minutes on the chasing group, 1 minute 30 on Maxi Vochils. A caveat, and a pretty big one, there are still 70.5 kilometers to go, and this is Tadej Pogačar's first race of the season. An important point in the race, because this is where, in the history of Strade Bianche, for the first time in years, things change.
Yeah.
We're onto the circuit now. Normally you get to Colle Pinzuto and you're going, hang on a minute, we're getting towards the end of the race now. Not this year. There's still 49 kilometers to go for the man who has almost 3 minutes of a lead on everybody else. And this is Pogačar. He's enjoying himself. He can afford to do this. He's got 3.5 minutes as he's on Le Tolfe.
Any general rider would not be able to hold his wheel, and he's been on the attack for 40 Ks. He's done 150 Ks before this as well. It's just madness.
attacking was going on behind, the gaps growing, and that tactical play that you talked about was playing out. Tadej Pogačar was riding sector 13. He's off it now. He has just 2 sectors to go and 22.2 kilometers remain. With Pogačar coming on to the penultimate sector now, at the end of the brand new circuit in this race. He's back to Colle Pinzuto. I think we know how it's going to go, and it's going to be something that is going to sit there in the record books, in the history books, in the storied of sports, in a relatively new race that already looks special and like a real classic. It's going to have a heroic performance to go with its nickname, the Heroic. He's approaching the final sector. Pogačar still looking good, still moving well, still extending his lead. It ticks on to 5 minutes, 5 long minutes over the main chasing group, as Tadej Pogačar takes on Le Tolfe for the second and final time of this adjusted Strade Bianche route. They've come to see their hero. They're here for the great entertainer, and entertain them he has done. For almost half of this ride, it's been a solo ride. Pogačar's there, and every little bit of noise here is for him. It's over here that the road becomes smoother. The gravel is gone. 71 kilometers of it tamed by this man. Every moment recorded for the memory, because Tadej Pogačar might never do anything like this again. That was unique. This is Pogačar, and there is nobody at all like him.
You see Remco Evenepoel going. Here we go. We waited for this moment. James Knox was at the end of his tether, Robbie, and we have liftoff. Season 2024 has liftoff for Remco Evenepoel. We waited for this moment. He is focused on the Tour de France this year, and the Belgian champion is going with some, what is this now? We've got 50 kilometers to go. Remco Evenepoel, day 1, win 51. The Belgian champion sends out a message, puts the phone to his ear and slams it down. Look at this. Here we go, Jonas Vingegaard is off. We've waited for this moment at the start of the season. We have liftoff from Jonas Vingegaard, and who can go with him? Let's see. 1 year ago, we saw him shred this race to pieces across 2 road stages and then that incredible time trial at the very end of the race. And he started this one just how he left off last year. We saw him take off the rain jacket. It was like a waving of a white flag, ready to go, and he's off. Jonas Vingegaard looked over his shoulder and gone again. It might just be that he needs the gradient, maybe, and it constantly changes. They're ever so slightly downhill, a bit of a false flat here. It might be that he needs a bit more of a consistent climb to make it count. 5k to go to the finish. Jonas Vingegaard, do you know, what a ride by Alex Molinар, Ian. It is really impressive, this. Having been in that breakaway, just as I say it, he's lost about a bike length. The audacity to hang on, he's hung on as long as he can, and as soon as I pick it out, of course, it's just being dispatched. What a shame.
Vingegaard goes again.
This will be it. This should be it. But let's not forget, the finish is not at the top of this climb. The finish is nearly 3 kilometres over the top and downhill. So he'll have a time trial of his own to do. Now he knows he's clear. It's taken a while to get clear. And he's actually only got 800 metres left of the climb anyway. But last year's victor, Jonas Vingegaard, is now going clear. It hasn't looked crushingly dominant as it was 1 year ago on those 2 road stages. But it's certainly been good enough to get him clear of a very, very elite climbing group.
Vingegaard absolutely flying down this descent.
This is going to be a fascinating chase. We know that Jonas Vingegaard is one of the best time trialists in this field. He's a good descender too as well, not necessarily amongst the very best of them within a field like this, but it shouldn't cause him too many problems. Plus he's got clear space all around him to take exactly the lines he wants to through these corners. And Jonas Vingegaard is going to take the win. It will just be just a moment or two until he gets his hands in the air, but he'll keep driving towards the line because this is time gaps over a very, very strong chasing lead. Down onto the drops, out of the saddle. He knows he's done it now. We haven't yet seen the smile, but we will do in just a moment. Jonas Vingegaard kisses his ring, bangs his chest, and wins the stage.
It's Mathieu van der Poel. It is Narvaez. Kung is there. Oh, and he's down. You can just see Wout van Aert losing grip, losing balance. Wout van Aert is down, and getting going from that again on the Paterberg is almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take one monumental effort here for him to get back on there. What happened was Van der Poel came in, Van Aert was on the left-hand side, but Kung swung in front of him. Van Aert tried to go right to get around him, but just lost it on that bit. But Van der Poel.
This is a horrible hill. It's short, but it's steep. It is hellish. Lascano was up there with 7 seconds going on to it, and now Van der Poel is sailing away from him. Up the biggest gradient, his big rivals at the back. Contrasting fortunes for both of them, and the race now is on yet again. It's Paterberg advantage to Mathieu van der Poel, and as we now go to the Quaremont, it's everything to do, and almost a miracle required for Wout van Aert. All alone at the front of Harelbeke is Mathieu van der Poel. He's finished 2nd and 3rd at this race, Adam.
Kirsch, then you've got what looks to be Van Aert just bridging back across that group. Fred Ryan his wheel, jumping across to Alaphilippe.
This is Mathieu van der Poel with a World Champions jersey on his back. They line the road left and right, and Van der Poel pedalling away. And listen to that. It's the sound of spring, and the gap to those behind him is increasing. 32 seconds and counting. 32 seconds and growing. Van der Poel could well be putting them to the sword here. There's a long way to go. There's a lot of riders behind. That the gap continues to increase. Is there going to be reaction? Vettel here. Van Aert is doing a good job though. Look at that, another few seconds out the gap. You talked about the time trial differences between the two. maybe Van der Poel more explosive over those steeper climbs and the shorter differences, but Van Aert, we know that he's got the strong engine, hasn't he? He's a real diesel when he gets going and when he gets up to full speed. There ain't much stopping him. He's taking it down to 20 seconds here.
Van Aert, 13 seconds. He's getting close to this headwind. Van der Poel on the radio as well. Van Aert's just got to do what he's got to do. Let's not forget this man crashed on the Paterberg, but he's wheeling slowly but surely the world champion back in. He's got him in his sights, he's close. A little look over the shoulder there. Van der Poel as well. Free ride, Van Aert, 11 seconds now. Another climb coming.
There's quite the story brewing here. It looked like Wout van Aert was out the game on the Paterberg.
Cross headwind, Rob, all the way down to the finish. So just a little look there, and it is a cross headwind all the way down to the finish. This direction for pretty much most of it, and then a left turn with about 10k to go into the centre of Kortrijk. When they turn, they'll still get the sort of cross headwind, head crosswind. 16 seconds, still holding.
Sections, 40 seconds is being shown on the chalkboard. 125 back to the next group. Difficult place this, isn't it, now for Van Aert, because he's seen that gap. He probably knows what's coming in terms of not being able to win the race unless a miracle happens. The rainbow is shining across this parkour in the shape of Mathieu Van der Poel. Mathieu Van der Poel's father, Adrie, came third, came second here. Van der Poel himself has been third. Last year was second, but he's back, he's done it. And finally, Mathieu Van der Poel, after another classy performance, has done the business. We salute you. Van der Poel across the line. He ticks off another, and one of the biggest classics in the world has now been added to a perfect palmarès.